All right, welcome back. Just Offside podcast. Me and Mike Pavella are back, and we got a very, very special guest joining us today. I think if you've been in BMO and in the South Stand for probably the last decade, you've seen probably over a decade, you've seen this guy out there, man. We got Zeldin joining us, man. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm living the dream out here. Just enjoying my Sunday and yeah, excited to talk to you guys. Long time listener, first time caller.
Yes, man. We are pumped. We're pumped to have you, man. I know you're gonna have some great insight for the people to hear about the club, kind of ins and outs of support, your supporters group. And so I've been looking forward to it. I know Mike's been looking forward to it too. So yeah, we're looking forward to this little chat we're having today, man. Excited.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. Really excited to chop it up with you guys.
Yeah, so we got to start, bro. You got to take us back, man. Since we know you're a big soccer football fanatic. So tell us, like, where'd it all start in the beginning for you when you're a youngster?
So growing up in Toronto in like the 90s and early 2000s, like soccer still wasn't a big thing yet. Like lots of kids played it. I didn't though. Like I grew up playing baseball and hockey because I was born in '88. So like one of my earliest memories is watching Joe Carter win the World Series, and then watching like the next year, like the Leafs make that '93 run into the playoffs. So like I grew up idolizing like Joe Carter, Robbie Alomar, Doug Gilmour, Wendell Clark, and I like kind of ignored football for a long time, and I knew about it. It was sort of like in the periphery. So one of my best boys, his cousins are Spurs fans. So like when they would come over and visit him in the summer and like I'd meet them, they would tell us about like this team called Tottenham Hotspur that like I didn't know about. And little did I know that like in the end that would be what led me into this crazy lifestyle.
Right. Okay.
But it was sort of on the periphery. And then when I moved away to Montreal, I went to Concordia for university for the first couple of years. And my roommate or my neighbors above me in my apartment above me in the floor above me, they were big football fans. So, and they had cable, right? Like we didn't have cable. We were broke ass students. So we would go and hang out with them. And like on Saturday and Sunday mornings, we'd all be like coming down from whatever party we were at or like nursing our hangovers and we'd be watching footy. And they were like United fans. This is going back to like 2007. So I like these guys were United fans and Arsenal fans and Chelsea fans. And like I was looking at these teams, I was like, yeah, but like these teams are big spenders and they've got fancy stadiums and big, deep pocketed sugar daddies. Like that's easy to support a team when they're winning, especially when you're like choosing which team to support. Yeah, and then I remembered Tottenham Hotspur. And my buddy's cousins being like, yeah, they're the Yids. And that made me sit up and listen because I'm Jewish. So for me, I was like, oh, okay, this is the Jewish team. So they always sort of stuck out of my mind. And when I started watching the EPL back in like 2007, Spurs were okay, solid mid-table team, nothing fancy, sort of like kind of the butt of everybody's jokes. And as a Maple Leafs fan, that resonated with me. I identified with that. And as a sports fan as well, right? Like most sports fans, like success and glory and all and titles and championships, like that's fleeting at best, and that's at best, right? Like 99% of the time, it's heartbreak, and that's where the beauty of being a sports fan is, right? It's loving something so much, even though it breaks your heart, but it's not about the success. It's about like the family and the community. So I was like, okay, here's like a club that I can get behind. And I got lucky. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like when I really started like following Spurs, like that was when Gareth Bale was sort of like starting to shine, and we had Modric, like it was like starting to be an exciting team. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like all you guys, you support like the teams that have been winning shit. Like this team hasn't won anything since 2008, and like before, and that like what the Carling Cup like doesn't really matter. Like we haven't really won anything of importance.
The Audi Cup, all of those car cups, whatever you guys won.
Yeah, those are really lining our cabinet right now. but it's sort of like, here's a team that hasn't won anything since like the 70s, anything of note since the 70s. It's like, oh, okay, like I get these guys, like these are my kind of people, because I'm a glut for punishment, clearly. And so that I started really getting into that and watching it with my neighbors, and like I really enjoyed the banter and I enjoyed like the passion. I'm an old squeegee punk from like Bathurst and Queen, right? Like when I say I grew up downtown Toronto, I grew up like Christie and Door, right? Like this is my streets.
Yeah.
And so in like the early 2000s, around the time of the second war in Iraq, I was in like 9th, 10th grade, and I had hair down past my shoulders, and I wore like tight plaid pants and like a leather jacket, and I would go and clean windshields at Bathurst and Queen with the other like crust punks, and we would like buy 40s of like St. Ives and Old English from the beer store and drink them in the alley behind the Big Bop, and then sneak in through the back and watch whatever punk show was there. And at the same time, I'm like really involved in the anti-war movement and the anti-poverty movement, and like I was like skipping class to like go to demonstrations and sit in on like trials for like protest leaders and stuff. Like I was radical.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when I discovered the stadium, I was like, oh, these are like my three favorite things. It's sports.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a punk rock concert, and it's a little bit of like a political protest, like verging on a riot. So I was like, okay, like I found my happy place. And as soon as I discovered like supporters, I was hooked. Like I don't care about hockey, and I couldn't tell you who's on the Leafs anymore, who's on the Blue Jays.
So
like,
when was that time? What was around that time?
That happened between like 2007 and 2010. And then I transferred to U of T in 2010, and I moved back to Toronto, and my buddy Rainer and I started going to games. Like we didn't have seasons, but we would just like pick up, and the team was so shitty back then that you could just pick up tickets, no problem.
Yeah.
And it like, it wasn't really for us like necessarily about going and watching, you know, good football. It was part of like being part of something early on at that, like the early ground level of like a movement of like culture shift. And it was really exciting for us because we were also the only guys in our crew that liked footy. So we had each other, and we had BMO Fields and TFC, and like I remember, I think it was a Champions League game against Cruz Azul back in the summer of 2010, I want to say. And I don't know why it really hadn't like clicked in for me yet, but we were sitting up in the second deck, west side, south end. So like close to the south end. And it was the first time I remember I like really noticed the supporters, and like I heard them and I saw the flags, and I was like, oh, okay, like maybe there is something here. Maybe there is like a little bit. And like, I was still ignorant at the time. I had no fucking clue what a neutral was, or what a supporter was, or a casual was. Like, I am a late comer to this culture. But I was like, but it resonated with me. So I was like, okay, like Rainer, let's go check this out. So we snuck in. Like the South End is still the same way. You just walk right in. If you want to support the team and you want to like get hyped for them, like you're welcome there. So we just walked in, and like there's people singing and clapping, and I was like, oh, this is what I know. This makes sense to me. And I remember looking at, it wasn't Bobby Brizzo from U Sector. It was a different capo for U Sector. He is this Brazilian guy. He's since moved back to Brazil. I can't remember his name now. Okay. But I remember watching him in the stand, the Lanchacori, the song thrower. And I was like, I could do that. I was a singer in a band in high school. Like I wrote songs, and I had a band. We sounded like the Chili Peppers and shit. So I was like, okay.
Can you quickly explain what like a capo would be for people that don't know?
So there's the capo, and there's a couple capos in like even in Inebriati itself. We run it sort of like by Politburo, by committee. But there's like different roles, and so like I lead Inebriati. I'm one of the leaders of Inebriati. Yeah. But I'm also, my role in the stadium is in Italy we call it Lanciatori, and that translates to the song thrower, and that's sort of my job. Like I had a buddy that I worked with. He's like, "Yo, this is the MC. He's the master of the ceremony." Same thing, just different. Like that's more of a Munjicate name. Okay. But I saw what they were doing, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Like I've led rallies. Like
Mhm.
I've been on stage fronting a band, like getting people going. Like it just made sense to me, and I love the energy, and I love if I were a Dungeons and Dragons character, I would just be pure chaos. Like I love chaos. I love. I think like probably if I was a soldier, I'd probably love combat because that's like I just
Yeah.
sensory overload stuff. And so that's really when I got hooked. And I think from about that Cruise Azul game on, I think I could probably count on both hands the number of games I've missed.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
So
is,
that's a long-winded way of saying around 2010 is when I got really hooked on it.
but that's amazing. How like the whole backstory, how you got into that's crazy. But
I also
no,
think it's fascinating that you didn't like grow up really with it.
yeah,
And that
exactly,
you
right?
on kind of late. Because I think
My mom's
especially
from Montreal and my dad's
uh,
from Toronto. They had no clue that there was a Toronto Lynx or
Any of that, yeah.
like a Montreal Impact, like back when they were living there. Like they knew about the Canadians and the Expos and like maybe the Argonauts or something.
okay.
Crazy. So Inebriati, was that group formed before you joined it? Was it already formed?
No. So
How did that start?
so I joined U Sector
Okay.
and like 10, 11 years later, I want to shout out my buddy Swiss for vouching for me and getting me into U Sector and getting my tickets, because Rainer and I eventually ended up getting tickets on the North Stand back when there was a North
Yeah.
Stand.
Well, just
And
quickly, sorry to interrupt. What's that process like if you getting in like
it differs for everybody.
Yeah?
So I joined U Sector, but we were like, when I joined U Sector, it was really, the team was really bad and it was toxic and nobody wanted to sing. And I wanted to sing. Like I was
Yeah.
like, why are we down here if we're not singing? And at the same time, RPB, Red Patch Boys, were sort of in a little bit of a funk, and they had sort of like stalled in terms of like their dynamism as a group.
Yeah.
The North End Elite had folded the year prior to that. So those were the original guys in 127 that folded, and then Mike and the guys with Kings in the North took over.
Okay.
And so like I just sort of felt like I was like, okay, I finally got down here, but like I'm a day late and $1 short, right? And so I spent the year sort of feeling a little bit like an outsider in the South End. And then I went on an away day. I think it was the first Toronto away day to Montreal.
Yeah.
It was in the Olympic Stadium, and we took like 2,000-3,000 people. And I went, and like I went basically by myself. I was already in Montreal actually because my mom's from Montreal, so we were there for Passover. And the game was at like a 1:00 game, so it like didn't interfere with dinner either. So I was able to like dip out of Côte Saint Luc, run over to the stadium really quick. I went alone, and I happened to spend the game standing beside this guy, Justin.
Yeah.
And like we just got along, we had a good time. Didn't see him again. I saw him around the stadium here and there. Didn't see him again really though for a year, until one day I hop on the subway coming home from work, and I bump into him, and he's like, "Hey man, I was just thinking about you. Me and a couple of the other guys, like we've been kicked out of Red Patch Boys, so we started our own group in 111. And we're all about active support. Like we're not here to be like take selfies or to like sell T-shirts and scarves and like be fair weather fans. Like we want to bring 90-minute mentality, like flags up, scarves up, like voices up, win or lose, like rain or shine." And I was like, "Yeah." Like he's like, "Are you in?" I was like, "Does a bear shit in the woods?" Like, that's what I do. So we spent 2013 in 111, and so that's how I got introduced to this group. And we weren't Inebriati yet. So 2012 was sort of like the ideation of the group, and there were a couple of reasons for that, and I won't get into the internal politics because it's boring and it's also water in the bridge. But they had decided that Toronto needed a kick in the ass, or Toronto support needed a kick in the ass. Mark and Chris, the two of the guys that founded this. Yeah. And so they spent like 2012 and 2013 gathering what we called, we were just a group of misfits, miscreants, and reprobates. And none of us sort of fit into any other group. None of us really fit into any, we're hard to put into neat little boxes in our lives as well. And yeah, we're all just a bunch of psychopaths who like smoking weed and drinking beers. So like, and going to soccer. So it worked. And we were really, that year, we really sort of made our name because we were protesting the club banning somebody for pyro outside the stadium for like lighting I think it was a smoke grenade. In the end, he didn't even light. My buddy Anthony was the one that lit it. And this guy and so we were fighting the club on having this guy Matt ban lifted, and we were pushing for club sanctioned smoke because we were like, all the other teams are starting to do this, so we like Toronto needs to stay ahead of the curve, and like if you want to help us like re-inject some life into support, like this is something that you should do. And we said you should also do general admission in the South End and safe standing. And 10 years later, we're still having that conversation, but that's coming. But this is also the same conversation where the club said, you know what, we get people coming to us every week wanting to start a supporters group. We'll be surprised if we're talking to you in 6 months. So like the club also like it was they had a different mentality back then as well. So like everything like the journey from 2012 when Inebriati sort of started coming together to now is different, is like entirely different. And the one person, I mean, you can like Bill Manning has done a lot of great stuff for the club and for the support, but the person that I need to like give the most credit to for that is actually Tim Leiweke.
I hear a lot of good things about that guy. From
Uncle Tim is what we call him.
Like,
yeah, he's been great. And don't get me wrong, like we actually also have a good relationship with Bill Manning, and he really does advocate for us and look out for us. But that culture shift happened when Leiweke came in, and that's like the turning point in terms of Toronto's success. And we were really blessed to have him. But at the same time, I think that like we also blew up too quick as well because of him, right? Like we got real good real fast and had a lot of success real fast.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, and now we're seeing sort of like the adjustment in the last year and a half or so, but that's another conversation.
That's crazy. It's very interesting, man. So like what goes on with, obviously you guys are there at the games and all that stuff, but what's going on with these supporters group off the field, like week to week? What's happening with you guys like that when you're organizing things for the matches and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I mean we basically have weekly, like see each other weekly during the season, whether it's at our bar before the game and in the stands, or we have a bar in the Junction that we watch games out of, called Shocks' Tavern. So we've been watching games out of there for like 7 years now as well, and they've been good to us. And then from there, that's where we sort of like do our organizing and our planning, and like obviously like there's other like forms of internal communication, like people use WhatsApp, Facebook, Discord, like all that shit, right? But we are a face-to-face group first and foremost, and like membership and your standing in the group is based on like showing up and putting up. So it's like, you know, if we're at the bar watching an away game, we're gonna, you know, the leadership will be like, okay, we're doing a TIFO for the game a month from now. This is what it's going to be. Like, this is how much it's cost. This is where we've booked some time off. Like, we have friends who have like access to like skating rinks in the summer that don't have the ice on them. So it's like, you know, we're gonna go into there and like set up. I've
always wondered where they do, like, where do they do these, bro? Okay, so arenas.
We beg, borrow, and steal, like, for space. Like, the club will give us Rico Coliseum and like some of the space attached to that at times. But like, again, like in the playoffs when we really need it, we can't have it because the Marlies are in the playoffs. Or the Royal Winter Fair of all fucking things needs it, right? Like, it's like, okay, so we need to build a barn here instead of like actually support a team. Like, great, but it's like those are business decisions. I'm not that's But like we like back in the day we used this guy King Dave's space, and we used Jamie's space. Jamie is the guy that runs the Voyageurs, and he does like yeoman's work. Like. So the club that my buddy Mauro, who's currently banned from the stadium, he manages a youth club. I guess they're U16 now, and they're York Jets, one of Ashton's old clubs.
Yeah.
And so we became friends with the guy that operates the city rink, at that park. And
nice.
So in the summer he'll let us go in there and paint and stuff, and we just make sure that we leave him a case of beer and no mess.
Amazing. Okay, really cool.
How about does the club support you guys financially?
No, absolutely not. And we will never take a dime from them. We'll take help from them. They paid for our Pullmans when we were in Guadalajara. Sorry, our coach buses from the bars where we were drinking to the stadium.
Yeah.
But that was also because they didn't do shit when we went down for the semifinals to Club America. And coming out of the stadium, there were maybe 35 Toronto fans that were there from Toronto, and the club didn't organize anything, so we had to get taken out by riot cops in an armored bus because there were 500 Barra Bravas trying to get at us. And thankfully, through our buddies, our friends at Chicago Fire, were boys with they were called Sector Latino. Now they're La Banda Roja. We were introduced to one of the capos for the Barra Bravas of Pumas. This guy Mega, and the only reason we got out of there in one piece is because somebody recognized Mega and was like, "Oh shit, we gotta make sure these guys don't get torn apart limb from limb." And it was worse because we advanced. I think we drew away at or we beat that. Either way, we advanced to the finals of the Conca champions.
Yeah,
and Club America didn't. So their fans were ready to pull us.
Ready to go.
Yeah. And I've never been so happy in my life to see a crowd of angry people wanting to fight me. We were on a high. We were coming out of there, and that Champions League game. I've heard you talk to all the other guys that were there on the field. From a fan's perspective, that game was fucking perfect. Yeah. It's thundering and lightning. This is like a biblical fucking thunderstorm going on, and we get there late because there's so much traffic and we pull up into the parking lot and we're taken into the stadium by it's like a V formation of riot cops with their shields out, and we're hustled into the stadium, and it's raining and it's dark and it's lightning, and we're up there in the top section, and all of a sudden we're in there and we're like, holy shit, we're in the fucking Azteca.
Yeah.
We are in this temple of soccer history and our team is playing in a meaningful match here. Holy shit. So obviously shirts off right away. Tu madre starts coming out. And I'll never forget this. There was a quiet point. So I just started up a chinga tu madre, and all the riot cops who's standing in the section by the chain link fence with the barbed wire on it. I see them sort of look around. They're all there it goes. Shield comes down, and all of a sudden, bags start coming at us. And again, I love chaos. So for me, I was like, holy shit, it's happening. We're a real club now. We're playing away in these against a historical team, and we're beating them, and we're getting under their fans' skin. This is a real thing. We're not just cosplaying anymore. We're not making pretend we're here. Yeah, that was wild. Sorry, I'm sorry for my.
No, we love this.
Oh, I love it. I can listen to that all day.
But also, obviously touching on that, the Champions League run, man. What was it like for you guys? Those Seba years, Josie, when they started going on that run, obviously not winning the 27 or 16 final they lost. The first one?
Yeah, we lost the 2016 final at home, and then the team ran.
Yeah, so what was that run like for you as supporters group?
Magical, bro.
Those couple years.
I mean, you guys know as fans yourselves and having been at those games.
We got to those games.
Semifinals, and it's what I opened up with earlier. It's 99% of the time for a sports fan, you're never going to taste that sort of glory. So to do it with style and panache and set those records and win that first domestic treble in MLS and North American history, that was just it was so special. And the city knew it, and that was when people around North America and around the world sort of sat up as well and started looking at Toronto's fan culture. They're like, oh, these aren't just lame Americans, because let's call a spade. A lot of the American fan bases are corny as hell, right? What do the American guys do? believe.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah, I know.
But
That chant's horrible.
And we could be, and we sometimes we are that corny, but on the whole, especially in Toronto, like we have a different edge. We have a different fluency in this culture that a lot of other places don't. And so people started sitting up and being like, oh, okay, like it's a good team and they've got real fans there. They have like savvy fans.
Yeah.
So it was really magical to sort of like get blasted like that and to be noticed. Again, like it cuts both ways, right? Like I think we blew up really quickly, and then this year, like even with COVID and all that stuff, like it could have been more full. You know, like there were games where it was just the South End.
Yeah.
And like I think that had we gotten to that level of success maybe a little bit more slowly, I don't want to call it organically because everything is a cash injection in football, right? Like and like we also had a good balance of like local homegrown talent and talent that we bought on those teams. But I think we really sort of like we're on a bit of a rocket ship and it's come down, and people don't realize that shouldn't be the expectation. The expectation should be that like we have a team that fights for the badge because the badge is us in the South End and in the stadium. And we're not fans, we're the community, we're the club, right? We are the club.
Yeah.
The fans are like the supporters are eternal. Players, managers, front office, they come and go.
Exactly.
We're forever. And so I think moving forward, the supporters are like much more mindful of the fact that like we can't get too caught up as well in the hype, and remember that like it's fleeting, right? Like glory is fleeting, pain is constant. And there's a beauty in it. Again, I'm a romantic, right? Like for me this is like what's that movie about the guys who wrote Animal House, like utterly useless and futile. Like that's the whole point. Like this is a 90-minute game that like we pour our lives into. Like thank God I have that, and I'm not living in a place like Ukraine or Russia where like, you know, like that you might not even get the chance to do that again.
I know.
So, you know, we're blessed here.
Honestly, unreal. Yeah. How's but obviously with these supporters too, what is your relationship like with some of the players? I know you know some guys pretty close. Like how has that been, building a relationship with them over the years with players?
Well, that's what makes it special, and that's what made those successful years so much more meaningful, because it wasn't just Seba, you know, and Josie and Michael, who actually all have like developed very strong relationships with us, but it was also Ashton, it was Azorio, it was Frazier, it was like all these like homegrown talents, people that started off as fans, and it goes deep as well. Like I went to the same high school as Ash. He's in my cousin's grade, so like I've known about Ash since he was 14. Like me, and his best boy is a musician that I used to manage when I was working in music, Alan Raymond. Yeah. So it's like, you know, and like Rock, Ash's like his business partner out of Sonder is my boy. So it's not, he's not just some player. This is
that's the guy you grew up with.
Yeah, and then Azorio, and like the way that John has like really like you know, he for him, like I think he plays for the supporters almost more than anything else. Like, and obviously he's a professional.
He's one of those guys. Yeah.
He talks about it a lot as well. I know that he like tweets it out, and like, I mean, I watched the video of like you guys together at the end of a game and doing everything. And he's always like the first one to go and interact with the crowd, like after the game, and talk about it like openly. So I think
he always says that if he wasn't a professional footballer, he'd be in South End with us. You know what? The night that we won the MLS Cup, I got a DM from one of his younger brothers. It was like, "Yo, is it cool if like we stand in 114 with you guys?" And I told him like that shouldn't even be a question. Of course. Like, you guys you're part of the Toronto family.
Yeah, so cool.
Man. So it's so special. It was so special, and those relationships mean so much to us because that's the reciprocation, right? Like they can't always reciprocate on the field. Last year they try as they might, like the results, they just couldn't reciprocate on the field. But they reciprocate in so many other ways, and they show that love, and they show their appreciation for the support that we give them. So like it pushes us on because like we want to support them even more. It becomes like a self-generating sort of phenomenon almost. And it's so important, and it just goes to prove that you know, football without fans is nothing, right? Like what's the point? And I think COVID showed that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it was really hard for me to care about the MLS's back tournament, or to like care about even a big chunks of last season when there weren't fans in the crowd.
It was tough
because it felt like I was watching a training session.
Yeah. It's so
and like I go up to Downsview anyways to watch training sessions. So what am I paying for DAZN or Rogers or whatever for that?
Exactly. So different, man. Let's switch it up just before we let you go, man. Obviously we got to talk about what's going on with Canada soccer right now and this crazy wave this country is on, both with the females and with the men's side, man. But what has it been for you?
The ladies did it first. Shout out the ladies.
Ladies did it first, man.
Yeah. And we've been pushing for a women's professional team in Toronto as well for a while.
I think that's got to be happening next 10
needs to happen.
That needs to happen, yeah.
My girlfriend's gonna hate me because it's gonna be more soccer, but she's just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, I was actually but maybe before we go into it, I was gonna ask you that, and I wanted to ask Mike when we had him on. Obviously, the commitment and the support that you're giving, and like you said, like you barely missed a beat, and you go to all these games. As like the supporter that you are, has there been like negative effects on your like personal life and like relationships and work or anything like that?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend who said it's mere football. Like I miss her sometimes.
True.
Yeah, professionally, like I made a choice to stunt my professional development and my career actually in many ways and many times to prioritize football. And I've prioritized, you know, inebriati and TFC, you know, over relationships and over a lot of stuff. It's a bit of a lifestyle choice. And I don't regret a single moment of it. Like I don't regret a price of it. Like if I were to do it all over again, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it is like, and it's a commitment. Like, and that's why, like, if you talk to any leader of the group or of any group or any member of a group, like, we don't like it when people come into the South End and take selfies and clown around and clown us. It's like, yo, we fucking work hard.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you? Like, why are you here? Because you wanted a cheap ticket and you wanted to have a good time? Like, yeah, like, fuck off and don't disrespect us. Go somewhere else in the stadium. There's literally 30,000 other seats to go sit in except for these ones. So yeah, like when people like we've been really good at alienating other fans and like intimidating other fans and causing friction with other fans in the past. And it's because of like, I think we do also, I think every group to a certain extent has a bit of a sense of entitlement. And that's actually one of the things that we're really working on this season collectively as a South End, is to really like try to become a slightly gentler, softer, intimidating force for the team, right? Like because we want to bring more people in, and we, like, you guys were talking about like what I've given up and like what kind of sacrifices I've made, and like these are first world sacrifices, right? Like
of course, yeah.
Like but listen, I just turned 34. I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna lead the crowds until the World Cup, because like it's my fucking dream to cap a World Cup game. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like for these players, it's their dream to play in one. Like for me, it's my dream to lead the crowd in one. And then I'm retiring. Like this is hard on my body. Like I don't drink before games. I drink Gatorade and water and like,
man, you don't, bro. I've said you don't stop. Yeah,
because it's hard. It's hard on my body, and it's hard on the people that I love as well, because I'm making choices over them. And I haven't actually watched a game with my own two eyes in 10 years, because I've got my back turned to the field. I'm reading the crowd to understand what's going on. So like I would like to watch a game at some point. And actually, like, as a segue from that, anybody who's listening, anybody who wants to get involved in support, like, you don't have to ask, just fucking show up. And if you want to capo, if you want to do what I do, or if you want to drum, like, come show up, like, show your respect to the guys, to the people that have been doing this for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Learn, but we want to teach you because we want to watch a game. We want to be the old guys that can stand in the back and have a beer and have a laugh, and let the young guys. This is a young person's activity, and I'm starting to get old.
Yeah.
I found some great hair. I'm going bald up here. I got a COVID dad. Like, I got a dad bod now, guys.
So is the shirt coming off this season or no?
Absolutely. I'm not insecure about my body. Like, I know I'm ugly. I know I got a face for radio. I just
gotta do what you gotta do, man. But so you're hoping to be in Qatar come November.
That's a good question. Yeah. That's a really good question. I'm very torn about that.
Yeah, I know.
As you guys can obviously tell, like, I'm a romantic bleeding heart, and I have an incredible amount of ambivalence about going to this World Cup and taking part in this particular World Cup that was
that's me
built on slavery, right, and built on human rights abuses, and like so clearly bribed, right? Like it was so clearly rigged, right? And like
same with Russia.
Yeah, same with Russia. And listen, I'm not naive. I know that this is what football is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like when it's this blatant, and it's really hard to get behind it. Now, with that said, I skipped going back to your question about like what we've given up and what we sacrificed. Like, I failed a course in university my first year at U of T because I skipped a midterm to go watch that 8-1 loss to Honduras at a bar on Yonge Street at Young and Charles with the Voyageurs, right? Like I've been supporting this team from time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I'm still here. And I know these guys on the team, like these are my boys on the team. Like, although like I would consider him my boy. Like I love the guy. So to not go feels like I'm also very uncomfortable with the idea of not going and supporting them, and not being like on a selfish side, like not being part of this journey that I've invested so much into.
Yeah.
And then on the selfless side, like not being there to do what we do best for the guys. And you know what? We're really fucking good at it. We're really good at it. And that is their edge. And if we can help them make a run and like be the Iceland or the Ireland or what have you of this tournament, and like help to increase the stature of Canadian football globally.
Yeah.
Like that's our job.
Yeah.
That's why we're there. We're there to support the team. And so to not go is like also like, I feel like it's turning our backs on the team.
Yeah.
It's also like stupid expensive. Like this is not this is more expensive than going to a Formula One weekend, right? Like this is not a working class person's World Cup. And
it's also
I might be wrong about this, but football is a working class sport. So I'll probably be there, and I'll probably go into an incredible amount of debt to be there. But like, let the record show that I'm very uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of people's views I've heard of people wanting to go.
And I can only imagine what some of the players must feel about this, right? Because like, and they have to toe the party line, so you're never even going to know what they think.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't be surprised if we've got some smart guys on the team. Look, Fonzie is like a spokesperson for the UNHCR, right? For like these guys aren't ignorant. Like they know what's up. So I'm saying it for them.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I find it a weird one, especially just with like the time of year that it's taking place. Like just
it's
like the logistics of it, the cost of it. I went to Russia for the full month, and I was there for that World Cup, and I had only planned for the group stage, and then I ended up extending it and staying it.
How can you not?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was following Croatia. I'm Croatian. So I was going nuts, right? So, it's just a bit mad. But like November, what's happening, the built-up stadiums, I have no desire to go there.
Yeah. Like it's not going to be enjoyable. And like the government fucking bought up all the hotels in Qatar, and they're going to release them at an increased price closer to the date. Like, that's fucking highway robbery, guys.
Yeah,
like,
man, like,
and I got a boy in Dubai that I can go stay with, but what? I'm going to drive 6.5 hours both ways. Like, and I'm a Meshuggah, right? Like, I will fucking do that, but I don't want to. Right? Like, I don't want to put him and his family out for like 3 weeks while I crash on their couch and be a soccer hooligan in like a kind of like strict, like religiously and legally strict country. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna fucking smoke a joint and get him in trouble. Like, I don't want to do that to my boy. Like,
yeah, that's the tough part as well. Those regulations there. I wonder what they're even gonna do.
Right?
No, the world is coming.
Well, that's also like the scary part of soccer nowadays, because FIFA can literally go into a country and have them change their laws, like the same way that, like, in a way that like the IOC can't even really do that. FIFA can go into a Muslim country and say, hey, you have to allow alcohol to be sold and consumed in these areas, like, even though it's against your fucking beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, like these people's core beliefs and values, and FIFA is powerful enough to get them to drop that. Like, that's some Darth Vader shit, man.
Yeah, fucking nuts, bro. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to those last. That's gonna be a big party at BMO.
Oh, it's gonna be a jam. It's gonna be a jam. And like, I've been messaging all my buddies from all, because like part of like being a supporter is that you end up making friends with people all over the world.
Right.
And so now I'm messaging all of my internet friends, being like, yo, you can stay on my couch, like, come to the World Cup. Like, it's gonna be
bro, I gotta make sure I'm there for that one, bro. That's gonna be a special night, bro.
Mike, like, we can fly you over. We got a TIFO fund we can play for a ticket.
I fly home the next week, like the following week.
Yeah, one of our boys getting married.
I wish I was home a week earlier. It's painful, but yeah, I can't. I got like 2 weeks off in April, and that's when I come back.
I listened to a podcast, Spurs podcast called The Fighting Cock, and one of the guys on the podcast, his name's Thelonious. He's a Jamaica fan, big Jamaica fan. Yeah. And so I've just been like DMing him constantly, being like, bro, Toronto, weed's legal. Like, it's gonna be warmer end of March. Like, you should just come. Like, come chill in Toronto for a week and watch the game. And I think he's starting to crack. So anybody in the UK who's listening as well, like, you're welcome. Come party with us. Let's go. It's gonna be a party in Toronto when we play.
Getting everybody on a wave here, man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I heard you were talking a couple weeks ago on the pod, and like, people are like now starting to sit up and take notice of Canada and actually recognize that, like, it's not a fluke. Like, we've got some ballers.
Oh yeah, that's like everybody will kind of like mention it, because like everyone, like, household names are like Alfonso, John David's getting there, but like people are like recognizing like an Oso, and like when they listen to the app or like talk about it, they're like, oh yeah, like the guy from Toronto FC, and I'm like, that's dope. Like, even like MLS is getting like more recognition, and people are like picking up on clubs and teams and what they're doing in the movement. So yeah, it's dope. It's dope to see, especially like when you just meet like a random dude in a bar and you start talking about footy, and then they actually know about the club and like the success of it, and like Canada on the rise and everything. It's just, I find it crazy, like surreal.
It gives me goosebumps, man. I just got a tingle up my spine.
Yeah.
That's what I would have thought, bro. Canada, like, the way this has been going, like, you could see it kind of bubbling, but I never expected to just be like so quick.
I turned around and all of a sudden the team was good, right? Like, I and it's not just John Herdman. Like, he's got a massive part of this, and like, I know that, like, he's from other people that have done work with him. They're like, apparently this guy is like the most organized, like, meticulous dude. He sends back full reports like that thick to every player's club with all of their metrics and like, and all of this shit. Like, people love it when they go on away to Canada, because their players come back, like, they have more data points on their players when they come back.
Exactly.
So it's like, he's an incredible manager, but like, I normally, you know, like, and you can put your finger on a moment when all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're good. But like, this is like truly when it rains, it pours. Like, I didn't know about Tajon Buchanan until this year.
Exactly. When all the guys come on, like, it's the same thing. I was like, bro, where this kid come from is amazing. My favorite players, bro, to watch. Amazing.
Yeah, it's so fucking exciting.
Yeah,
so exciting, and these guys are only gonna get better. Like I don't think any of the new generation have hit their ceiling, and they're learning from pros like Atiba and Julian and Junior, like all of these guys, like who have been like kind of like journeymen or played these
trailblazers,
and trailblazers, like they, it's like a very exciting squad to watch right now, and I can't believe that lightning is striking twice for me, especially like in sports. Like this never happens.
It's crazy, man.
I support Genoa. I go to Genoa to watch the derby. Like
I was gonna bring that up. So I checked, I went through your Instagram and everything. How did Genoa come about?
My boy Mauro. So he's one of the other capos of Inebriati. Okay. And he's from the Genoa region. He's from a town called Chiavari. So when in 2014 or 2015, I think, maybe 16, I can't remember now. But I was like stressed at work, and I was working out of a shop in the Junction. Shout out Gerhard, everybody, if you want to go buy menswear, Canadian-made, premium-made menswear, Gerhard Supply. Shout out my boy Langton. Sorry, I had to plug him. But I was like smoking a cigarette outside the shop and just like stressing. And Mauro is like, he's like, Ellie, you're too stressed. Like, you need a vacation. You gotta come with me to Italy to watch the Genoa. I was like,
no way.
Yeah, okay. And he's like, yeah. So like we went and we were introduced to one of the Capo Ultras of Genoa, of a group called Gav. This guy Bomba. He's a fucking legend. He's one of the original like skinheads against racism and prejudice in Genoa. So, like super. He's like hard. He's a Maoist. Like this guy is hardcore like communist. And he leads like the anti-fascist group in Genoa as well. And like, so introduced to him, and this guy's name is Bomba for a reason. Like he plays a linebacker on one of the Italian American football teams, like Premier League of American football teams. There, he's a big boy. And I'll show you a picture sometime of him fighting the cops in Turin in 1993. A line of riot cops and just him like in his boots and braces going at them. Sweetest guy, has like 3 cats. Like he's the biggest cat dad. Like it's like you're like, how you're fighting cops and caring for cats. Like, it's incredible. Love the dude to death. But like we got in with them, and like just me being me, like I'm a chatty Cathy, and I force myself on people. I'm like, be my friend. And we've sort of become friends with them, and we have like a little bit, I want to call it like a full-on gemellagio, like a full twinning. But like when we go there, people are like, you're ragazzi di Toronto, and like, the guys from Toronto, and like one of the Lanciatori is coming over to Toronto this summer in July to watch some games. Nice. And you guys didn't hear from me, but we're getting the captain of Genoa, Domenico Crescito, La Maria is coming here. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, like it's Genoa's a fun time though, and if you want just like a shitty team to support that has amazing fans, an incredible stadium, the oldest professional team in Italy, Genoa is your place. But really? Like, no racist assholes. Like they're hardcore left wing. Okay. You're gonna see some sickle and hammers flying and some anarchist days, and I love getting the chaos.
So how many games did you catch when you were there? Did you catch one? Have you been to a couple since or no?
To Genoa?
Yeah.
Genoa. I've been multiple. I think I've been 4 or 5 times in the last 5 years. Like obviously COVID changed that, but for a while I was going twice a year for the Derby. And I had, let me see if I still have it. I have up until last year, I had a season seat on the Gradinata Nord.
No way.
And I would just leave it with Bomba, and he would just give it out to the youth, whoever needed a seat. And like so this is my travel card. So you need this to travel in Italy with the away tifosi. And I don't have, my season pass is in Italy, but True. As soon as COVID's over, like I plan on getting my seat again. Yeah. And so when we're there, we'll see like the Derby, obviously, but like we've also like gone away to Empoli, gone away to the San Siro following Genoa, been to Parma. But Parma was actually with the Serie B team. So in Chiavari, we have a Serie B team called Virtuentella.
Okay.
And and we've been like, they were in Serie C Uno when we got there, when we started going like in 2016, and they've worked their way up to B. And so we'll also like, we're tight with their Gradinata Sud there, with the ultras there. So like, and like, I'll go and hang out in the clubhouse and like smoke hash joints with them, and like, we go on away days with them on the Pullman, and so it's like, I travel for soccer. Like we want to go spend a month in Buenos Aires for a month, and like work remotely from there next year. And like Pam wants to go for, because she loves traveling, and I want to go so I can go to La Bombonera.
Yeah.
So like everywhere I go, I make a point of getting in with the ultras, and then you can't help but fall in love with these stories. Like being part of a club is being part of a religion now, right? Like in the 21st century, we've become secular, and we don't worship at like a religious temple or church or synagogue or whatever anymore. We go to the stadium. And so it's I can't help but like fall in love with these religions, with these cultures, with these tribes, with these traditions and stories and songs and sounds and smells. Like it's poetry in motion. It's poetry in real life, and you can't script TV better than this, right? Like, and that's why it drives me nuts as well when people like are armchair analysts, they don't go to the stadium, or they think they know everything because they play Football Manager or FIFA, or because they're like a social media influencer and they spend the whole game fucking selfieing and shit. Like, fuck you. Like, you're missing the point. It's about being part of something bigger. It's being like that. You guys talked about it a couple episodes ago, like in 2016, that game against Montreal. I think you guys were talking about it with Mike. And like the way the stands were shaking and everybody was on a wave. I don't really remember that night, to be honest with you. But I remember how I feel. And there's nothing better than that. And then to fall in love with a club or with a place, it's just, there's something magical about it, because like, that's why I don't bet on sports. Like I care too much. And it's intoxicating. And if you travel, you'll meet other people, and you'll experience other clubs. And it's like the greatest thing that you can do. I recommend it to everybody. The best thing that you can do if you're a football fan in North America is leave North America, go watch football other places, make friends other places, learn their cultures, learn their traditions, bring them back, bring the good parts back, and also like study the darker parts, because we're so privileged here that we don't have to have the violence, and we don't have to have like these darker elements and like these politicized elements to it, right? Like let's become students and cherry pick the best parts, and leave the darker parts in the past. And because we all came to Canada, we all came to Toronto from somewhere else to escape those dark things. So let's celebrate the fact that we're all here together, and like elevate the beauty of it, and like move away from the darkness. And after the last 2 years, like I if there's anything that I believe in, it's the power of football to be a positive force. So, which is why I'm trying to personally move into like a gentler, softer, kinder, intimidating force for the club.
That's so cool. Like, I love that, because I've traveled around a lot of places in Europe, and
I was peeping your Instagram.
Everywhere I try and go, I try and catch a game. So like when I book a holiday, I'm like, oh, okay, this place, like there's a game going on, I'm gonna try and go. But I kind of taken your approach, but I kind of just like go to the ground, like maybe like 45 minutes, hour before, and just like soak it all in, and just like take it in. I'm not too like talkative. I'm not like going around and just linking up with people, but try and soak that all in. And it's fucking fascinating. And just like the different countries, how they approach it, the different leagues, like the magnitude of a game, just, like that shit sits with me. And like everybody, when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not home, I'm not in Canada, and they're like talking about like experiences and what I'm doing, I'm like, that's the shit that I'm doing. Like, that's like the wicked part. Like, that's the part that I love being able to do.
So my question for you is what's your favorite stadium that, like, besides obviously like Emirates, like that you've been to, maybe on the continent, or like what's the best like atmosphere that you've experienced, or the coolest stadium that you've experienced?
It's a tough one. One of the like really amazing atmospheres that kind of blew me away was Ibrox. When I went and I watched Rangers versus I believe it was Spartak Moscow in a Europa League game. Shout out Davy Curry because he sorted me the ticket. That was a really cool experience because his family owns Rangers pub right beside
Oh, no
the
way.
ground. So he set it all up. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna go with my brother, go to our pub, sit there." And I was like, that's when I was mixing with the locals and just like getting a talk. Never been to a Rangers game, don't really watch that much Scottish Prem. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. Like, this is gonna be sweet. Ticket was free. Shout out to him again for that. But it was, you walked in and the whole place was lit up. And that's when Stevie G was the manager there, and just like the sound of the ground. And
You
like,
feel it, you don't hear it.
Yeah.
I was taken back, and I was just like, this is
Because it's what, like maybe
insane.
10, 15,000 in there? It's not that like a lot, right?
I think a little bit more,
Like,
maybe
probably
20.
20,000 or
It was
30,000.
20? Oh, I thought it was
I think
small.
something,
Small.
but it
But it's
was,
not bigger than Toronto though. It's like
No, right, yeah.
that's an old school stadium.
Yeah, I like those though. I like that.
Yeah.
but like I've been to, I was at AIK in Stockholm, and that one I didn't even realize, but when I purchased the ticket, I was in the supporter section.
Oh, those guys are
And-
hardcore.
Yeah, and we were just standing there, and it was actually like I met these like Aussie blokes, and three of us like went to the game, and we all sat within them, and it was amazing because they were the only ones doing anything, and like the stadium itself isn't that amazing,
Mhm.
but actually watching, you barely watched because the quality wasn't amazing, but we went off, and it was just such a good time.
Yeah.
Is because I can never tell, because I only see the videos like of like their terrace. Is that a covered stadium? Is that an indoor
Yeah.
stadium?
It's like an arena. Like if you
That's
think about
so
like,
strange.
yeah, because they have like the middle cam, whatever the fuck is called, like the monitor and screen, everything. So like
Like
there's where
having-
yeah, that's like, it's like a Raptors game, like how they have the jumbotron kind of like up there.
True.
So that's where like a lot of concerts, a lot of other things happen, but the top half is usually like always closed off.
Yeah, because Sweden.
Yeah, and it's like right beside, you have to go through the mall to get to it. It's like
That
the
is-
weirdest destination one I've been to. There's been a lot of like strange grounds, weird places. Like went to an Anderlecht game in fucking Brussels, and that like stadium was dead. Like you hear a pin drop. There was
Really?
nothing going on there. Some of the World Cup games were Argentina versus France in the World Cup. We were like really immersed with the Argentinians, and that was wild. Like they were
The bottom.
amazing. Yeah, like that was an experience in itself. But yeah, a lot of good ones. A lot of the recently Arsenal ones have been really good. The white North London derby this year was fantastic. The atmosphere in there was like the best I'd seen. I thought the best I'd seen was we played Valencia in the Europa League semi-final.
Mhm.
And that was the first game that year where I was like, oh my God, this is like the Emirates. This is how it should kind of sound like.
Mhm.
And then I went to United New Year's Day a couple years ago.
Like New Year's Day and Boxing Day levies are always like, people are up for those.
Yeah, and we won 2-0. It was like my brother had come from back home, and I got him a ticket. And I was like,
So I guess you
he
guys
got to
didn't
witness
talk
it.
that day. You and Keith didn't talk that day, though.
Bro, I talked so much shit to him. We got nonstop back and forth, just going between us with that. But yeah, and then this year, Northland Derby, from the first second we walked in to leaving, like even the pub beforehand, just insane. Like that was by far the best game.
Derbies are the best. Like even that year that we went 0-9 to start the season, and Danny Cooperman said we're like the worst team in the world, and he wasn't wrong about that. At that point in time, we were the worst active team in the world. Yeah, even like the Montreal Derby was like, we were like that.
Yeah.
Like
you still always need to win that. Yeah, everyone's still up.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah. Like honestly, like I would take a season of losing if it means that, like, and it's too bad that Josie's gone, but like if we could play Montreal, if we know we're gonna beat Montreal every year on like Josie just doing something dirty and like burying a shot or like a beautiful shot and just go, calm down, quiet down.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's the thing. Like Josie understood. Like he was like a fan as well, because he would fucking stir the pot as well with the Montreal fans. And he knew how much we hated them, and he would just play to that. But he was also like the first player to ever like publicly say our name. Like he said it on TSN. Like he said, inebriati are very important to us. Regardless of how things ended with Josie here in Toronto, he's my guy. Like I love that guy.
He's a legend.
You know, like he's like where the team would be without Josie is like I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
The game winner alone, like, solidifies it.
Yeah. So compared to all these other stadiums, where would you rank BMO Field the night we won? Were you here in 2017 when we won the?
Yeah, I was at the final. Me and Keith were at the final.
How would you rate? Like, do we rate up there?
Yeah, you know what? Like the only difference is, well, it's very similar, I guess, in terms of like Serie A, because this year I went to a couple. I've been to Stadio Olimpico, I've been to the San Siro, I've been to Sao Paulo, I've seen Napoli, and just having like the South End where you guys are going nuts the entire time. Where we were, it's not as loud and as active, but because of how cold it was and how the meaning behind the game and like how important it was for the city, it was amazing. Like I'm honestly thinking about, like, I still laugh when I think about that game, Keith, because we brought in a bottle of like Jack Daniel's honey.
Yeah,
we were so cold that we were taking sips of it like every 10 minutes.
And just pass it around. Once you score, pass it around everybody, man. Yeah.
And our whole row was, Ash hooked us up the tickets, so I think we were like next to like a couple other people that were like, our row was really good, like our section was really good. But I haven't been, well, I've been to the World Cup final, but that was very different. BMO is electric. Like that Montreal game, I've never thought I would
semifinals.
I never thought I'd experience something like that. Like me and Keith were on our chairs, like jumping, going nuts, like, and just seeing everybody on that stand as well, rocking and doing that wave. Like for us personally as well, I didn't think I'd ever witness that in Toronto. So I think,
no, me neither.
So I think in terms of like the impact and what they're doing and seeing these Canada games as well at BMO, like it's remarkable. It's amazing to see. And that's like one of the things as well people mention to me is like, oh yeah, we're seeing like the actual atmosphere. Like it doesn't look like dead, you know, like people over here watch like NFL games and they'll watch NBA games occasionally when it's on, but it's not the same impact. Like they think like North Americans just gonna like sit, not really do much. It's not going to be as active or
in
loud.
North American sports, we're consumers. We're not active participants.
Yeah.
Whereas football flips that on its head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm dying. I was just telling Keith before we jumped on that, like when I fly home, I was like looking at TFC games, and if there was a game going on while I'm home, but they don't have a game, not a home game, I'm gutted about it. So I'm dying to go back to BMO and like go check a game.
And I saw a little.
Gotta get back this summer.
I saw a little quote that Josie said, like, because even the fans in Toronto, like, they're smart. It's like a smart footballing crowd. Like, even he said a little things like, even if you see like a player get out of a difficult situation when the crowd applauds, you hear that all over in Europe. But there's a lot of you don't hear that in the States at some of these stadiums. Like, there's just a little thing like that, like applauding.
It's because like people actually know the game here.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't know exactly what the statistic is, but I would be surprised if 40%, 45% of people who live in Toronto right now weren't born in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
And like most other places in the world, you live and breathe football, right?
Yeah.
So these are people that are much savvier even than the fucking Malakas who are commentating on One Soccer, you know? I love Terry Dunfield. I will say nothing bad about Terry Dunfield, but the rest of them, except for Andy Petrillo, she's actually very intelligent. The rest of them can just fucking lose their jobs, starting with Kurt Larson.
Yes.
Because the racist,
fuck that guy.
bigoted, and put this on the pod. Kurt Larson,
leave it in. I don't like that. I don't fuck with that guy either. You should say shit about me back in the day. Yeah.
Don't edit this out of the pod.
No,
Kurt Larson needs to be fired. He needs to lose his job at One Soccer. I don't understand how One Soccer or the parent company, whatever it's called, One Media or Media Pro, this guy still has his job. Like, he is the director of content for the national broadcaster for football in Canada. It's the only place that you can watch the Canadian Premier League. It's the only place that you can watch the Canadian Championship. It's the only place that you can watch, or up until recently, until the Rogers and Bell hopped on the bandwagon, where you could watch the national team, men and women. Mm-hmm. And you're going to tell me that in a country that prides itself on multiculturalism and like being a progressive place and a fan base that is predominantly progressive and left, and I don't want to say left wing or right wing, but progressive about this sort of shit, and doesn't stand for bigotry and racism and homophobia and any of that shit. And this guy is making choices in terms of what we're watching.
Bro, man, yeah,
that's wrong. I canceled my subscription, and I wrote I sent them an email. I was saying why, and I actually tried to and I don't like social media pylons. Mm-hmm. But I used, and I don't really have much of a platform. I'm not a celebrity, but I have a fair amount of people that I follow and they follow or follow me. And so I let it be known, hey, this is how I feel about it. We should all cancel our subscription and vote with our wallets, because if they start losing money, because I'm pretty sure they're struggling financially. I don't think they're doing so well based on the quality of what they're putting out. Yeah. So if we all start canceling our subscriptions, they're gonna have to listen. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I'm not doing this because I'm some social justice warrior. I'm doing this because and it's not actually even about the personal vendetta he had against me and Inebriati in the early days, and how he used to attack us and slander us on Twitter. And when we got banned for the two stick with the blowjob on it, he really stirred the pot and made things much, much worse. It's not even about that. Yeah. This guy is an American. Yeah. Running a Canadian media company, and he has these ideas. How is this appropriate? I know. And the motherfucker wears square-toed dress shoes. I'm sorry. With the money that you're making, you can buy a better fucking pair of shoes.
That's where we draw the line. That's where the line draws.
But I have two friends that worked at One Soccer. Yeah. And Kurt Larson, and I'm going on the record with this because they can't speak up professionally, but I will. I'll speak for them. Kurt Larson alienated them, bullied them, and ultimately was the reason why they left or were fired from One Soccer. And these were people that were good at their jobs and were never given a chance. So this guy, and you can see even he's not on air so much, but last year I felt like he was bullying Terry and Ollie whenever he was on the air with them. He's not a nice guy. No, and he's a toxic dude. He's a toxic. Talk to any Toronto supporter, and they'll say the same thing. That guy spews vitriol on Twitter and in his columns about the supporters, about the team. He stirs the pot and creates drama unnecessarily. And the fact that he's a bigot is not news to anybody who's in this community. It's just news to the newcomers and people who are outside of this community. We've all known this. We saw those tweets when he tweeted them. Yeah. So I was surprised when he was announced as a lead at One Soccer, and I'm surprised that he has his job still, because that was a pretty fucking lackluster apology, non-apology. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're a grown-up dude. He's a little bit older than me. We're around the same age. You knew better. Yeah, you knew better.
It's unbelievable. He just looks like a piece of shit. I remember when we kind of started, I was like, oh, I need to start following and looking at more people in the media that are covering and getting away from it. I started looking, I watched little clips and I was like, this guy fucking sucks. I just had a feeling about him. And then all that shit came out and I was like, this makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a good dude. So Canadian soccer fans, Canadian Premier League soccer fans, listen, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I canceled my subscription. And if you want to, if you're upset about, and they're don't take my word for it. Go on the internet and look. Go Google Kurt Larson, and all this shit will come up. If you want to do something about it, vote with your wallet and cancel your subscription, and send One Soccer an email. Let them know, because it's wrong. And talk to any fucking reporter anybody who covers soccer in this country, and they'll just roll their eyes and say fucking Kurt Larson. You know who should be running One Soccer and who should be on air? Sid Sixero and Donovan Bennett. Those guys should be fucking calling games.
Good, yeah. Those guys are like Christian Jack's great. I love that guy. He's good.
Yeah, he's good too. He's
great. But
we had Sid Sixero and Donovan Bennett in 114 back in, I think it was 2014, when we unfurled like a refugees welcome banner at the national team game. Mm-hmm. And like those guys are solid dudes. They're real soccer fans. Like somebody should give them a shot to be the voice of soccer in Canada. No. In my unprofessional and unqualified opinion.
Listen, we all have opinions though. We can get out though. So,
it's the beauty of podcasts.
Exactly. No, exactly. I love it, bro. No, it's the truth, bro. We've seen it. The guy's name's been around for forever, bro. I even remember back when I was playing, and just the shit he would talk about people is crazy.
Yeah, and like, and from a player's perspective, like I'm sure it's not. You don't want to have people writing shitty things about you and your team, like.
Yeah,
not needed.
Those times, but no, we'll see. And it's crazy, because he just got like this all happened, and just they thought it would just go away. He just went quiet. You didn't hear from him.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we know. Like, come on, man.
We're like anonymous. We do not forgive. We do not forget.
No,
expect that.
Exactly. But no, this has been amazing, bro. And on a light note, we got to talk quickly before we finish up. Mm-hmm. We got to talk some North London. We got to talk Arsenal.
we gotta chat some shit.
Well, and obviously we can throw Man United in there because now we're in that mess too. Mm-hmm. But man, yeah. So what are you guys thinking? And the way this season's gonna end? It's looking like those three teams and probably West Ham, I think.
We'll go Spursy, and we'll end up in like 7th or 8th and back in Europa Conference. Like that's what we do.
It looks like Arsenal. It looks like Arsenal now, bro. The way we keep throwing away points.
Yeah,
I just don't like. I don't like that we have 3 games in hand.
Why not?
Like 2 of them is like
3 of them. It's Chelsea, Liverpool, and Spurs.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of still a little confident. But
I think.
And what?
Yeah. What do you think about Conte? I want to know your thoughts on Conte.
Yeah, I love the guy. Like, so my folks split. They divorced when I was young. You know, I love my dad. Got a good relationship with my pops. God bless him. But he wasn't around as much when I was younger. And so Pochettino really sort of felt like my stepdad that I never had. So Conte will never be Pochettino for me. You know what I mean? Like Papa Pochettino. But he's kind of like my mom's like cooler, slicker, savvier, like boyfriend with a cool car that like lets me have a can of beer from the fridge when we're watching football on the couch together. So like whatever he wants, he can have it, right? Like, because he also has a history of winning. And like Mourinho, we know that we'll have him for a certain amount of time, and we know how it will end. Unlike Mourinho, Conte will get toxic and bitter with the right people, right? Not with the players and the fans like Mourinho does. He'll come into conflict with the board, which is how it's supposed to work, right? The manager's supposed to argue with the board. The board is being stingy or wants to sell a player because they can make a lot of money. You know, like it shouldn't be the manager should be advocating protecting his players, not poisoning the well in the dressing room, which is what Mourinho does everywhere he goes. He'll do it at Roma as well, I guarantee you. So Conte, give him the money, and let him do what he wants. I think the media loves to play up the Daniel Levy is screwing the pooch again and fucking his managers. I don't think that there's as much of that going on as especially the media in the UK likes to make it out to be. I think Conte is just like a fiery Latin man, and he's kind of like a cleaner cut Gattuso. Sometimes maybe shit, sometimes maybe good, right? Like so instead of saying that, he's like, man, I don't know, maybe I'm too honest, right? And then he says real talk.
But I think Spurs needed that. I think Spurs they need to hear that right now.
Yeah. And I think I would love to let the media continue to play up this narrative that he's going to leave any minute and that Harry Kane's going to go to Man City in the summer, because like I actually don't think that either of those things are going to happen. And I think we're going to keep him. I think we're going to keep Harry Kane, and we'll have. Listen, January transfer windows are really fucking difficult to do well in. And Dan Kulusevski has scored twice in his 3 appearances.
I like that move. I like he's
Bentancur looks like a fucking player.
Yeah.
You know, we have Romero, who's like one of the world's best defenders right now. Like we've got a solid spine of the team. We got Sonny locked up. You know, and we've got some exciting young youth coming up as well, like with Sessegnon. So like, I think the team's fine. We'll have a good summer, and maybe we'll finally splash some money around. And like, yeah, all this will go away. The media will continue to, we'll find some other narrative as to why Spurs are going to screw the pooch, because the media loves to do that. Like, I don't know what it is, but people love to shit on Spurs. And I love it, because it means that we live in their head rent free, and they underestimate us. And everybody's like, how can this happen? And it's like, well, we've got a good team. 2018, well, yeah, that was overperforming. Like Poch had players, he's getting a tune out players that he had no business getting a tune out of. Yeah, but we were still a good team. Like nobody likes to admit it, but apparently Kieran Trippier is a good player, right? Like he did well in Madrid. He's doing well at Newcastle. Like, he did well for us. Like, so it's I love it. Like, and that's also why I always just expect us to get Spursy and to fuck it up and end up in
bottle
Europa
jobs. Yeah.
Because then even if we make like Europa League, like, you know, I'm happy. Yeah. And I've finally gotten to a point, and maybe it's because like I've got a good job now, and like I've got a career, and I've like, you know, I'm getting engaged and shit. Like I'm in a different place in my life, but like I don't let football like ruin my mood anymore. Like, so like if Spurs lose and bottle it, it's like, oh well, I guess we'll just bottle it again next year. Like I got 34 games next year to watch, right? And again, it goes back to what I keep saying. Like it's not about the football. Like I love football, and it's like I love watching football, and it's my favorite sport, and I can literally sit and watch it all day. And like the only reason I haven't gone and tried to like get a job in football somehow is because I think that it would ruin how much I love it.
Yeah.
And how special it is to me. So, but like it's not about the football. The football is what is the purpose for everything else that surrounds it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like so addicted to it. So it doesn't matter if Spurs are good, if Spurs are Spursy, or Spurs win the league and do the double or whatever. Like I don't, you know, they're still my Spurs, and like I'll be happy and I'll gloat and I'll for a little while, and then the next season will start, and every Saturday and Sunday I'll be having a heart attack sitting on my couch, like stressing about it. Like it's life, it just goes on. So it's not about the results, it's about the family.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. But
also shout out the Darby family. If you're not following them yet,
yes,
get on. Like the Darby boys, like again, are doing crazy things with the culture, and like bringing more and more people into this wacky zany family that we haven't been able to reach, and like I love them for it, and they're so fucking talented as well.
They are, bro.
Damn, I wish I had a
group of guys. Is like I'm excited to see where they take that.
And it's exciting for me because when we started this experiment like 10 years ago, the goal was always to get to a place where like we didn't need to be the ones like we used to produce a fanzine. And we would always hope like, oh, maybe someday somebody else will start up a fanzine so we don't have to do it and we can take that off our plate. And then here come along a group of guys that like get the vision and get it so clearly. And like, they just got it independently of us. Like, like I didn't have to like indoctrinate them. Like they came to it themselves. And so for them to now be like part of this engine pushing the culture forward, it's like, for me, like, that's so fulfilling. That's so satisfying. It means that this crazy project that the club, and I'll be honest, like a lot of the other supporter groups and people involved with support in Toronto said would never work 10 years ago, is like it's its own self-sustaining ecosystem, as Kyle Becker kept saying at our bar after we beat Panama. fucking ecosystem, bro. I hope I didn't just put him on blast. Like I was, Kyle, you're always welcome back, bro. Like please come back and like have more drinks with us. Like that was a great night. But like he and I were talking about it. It's like we're building this ecosystem and it's self-sustaining now. Yeah, and it's only getting stronger and it's only getting bigger. And the way that we continue to do that is like this shit like this, like what you guys are doing. Like I probably hadn't seen you in close to 10 years, like since you and Ashley were hanging out on Bloor Street and I was looking at Over the Rainbow. Like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, he's got a podcast. Like, I want to listen to this. And you're talking about the shit that me and my friends are talking about independently. No, we all so do. It means that the movement is growing and it's not just the same group of people pushing it forward now. Now it's like it's snowballed and it's out of everybody's control and it's just going to go places. And I can't wait. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Shout out to Derby boys, man. But Tagwa needs to chill out with the fucking Arsenal slander because Everton
he's young though. He's young, right? Like when I was his age as well, watching football, like I was dropping C-bombs and like just chatting bear shit about everybody. You know, that's part of being young. What Winston Churchill said, like if you're not a socialist in your 20s, then you're heartless, and if you're not a conservative by your 40s, you're brainless, right? Like it's sort of like, and like I don't necessarily fully agree with this because I will go to my deathbed as a bleeding heart like lefty, right? Like that's just who I am. But like you mellow out over age, and so he's got to find like I just laugh because it's just Tagwa being Tagwa so on. Like I love it. I like that's you guys and the Derby cast and the Soccer Pilgrim like weekly fucking listening. I like it's not a proper week if I'm not listening to that.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I love that, bro. Appreciate that.
Man. So those are my rotation too. But no, dude, this has been amazing. It's been one of my favorite, Mike. I think.
Yeah, this has been fun, man.
This has been real fun, bro.
We'll do it again when we're in the playoffs and pushing for a title.
100%. We'll have you back. 100%.
Need you on it.
We've got some really exciting stuff going on at the stadium this year.
Tell people.
The club is like in a different place and they're much more collaborative now. And so we're hoping to do some really exciting stuff. I don't want to go into it too much right now, but we're trying to like all the groups after years of like inner bickering and infighting, because that's what happens when you get people together. We're all united. We're trying to build a real culture, like amongst all the groups. It's going to be called Lakeshore Terrace. That's the south end. Everybody's welcome. We're going to have a bar at the stadium because they all the other groups have lost their bars. So we're going to have a bar that opens up, I think, an hour and a half before a game. The stadium, we're trying to figure out how to get people in without like, having to like be a member of a group because we want to grow that. We want to like, be able to sell our own merch at the stadium and bring people in, make them feel engaged. We're going to start putting out words to songs and with the actual chants on social media. So keep your eyes out on that because we need the rest of the stadium learning these songs. And like, honestly, I've got a Google document with 40 pages of new songs that nobody's ever heard. So like, and these need to see the light of day. We got to get these Bada Brava songs going, like these like South American songs. So, there's your flatmate in the back there. Hey, isn't that the crouch?
That's my flatmate there.
But yeah, like everybody just come to the stadium. Football isn't something to be watched from a screen. Like football is something to be lived. So everybody come to the stadium. Everybody come to the south end. There is no capacity limit. Fuck capacity limits. Just sneak right in. Somebody will put a flag in your hand and tell you to start jumping, and you'll be part of the family. But we want the whole city singing with us because that's how we win cups. That's how we win championships, and that's how we build the community. So thank you guys for letting me come out here.
No, for sure, bro. For sure.
Of course, bro. For people listening that want to possibly come in and check up and get those updates, where could they see those updates?
So big things are happening. Inebriati is no more because we went to Ottawa and lit the field on fire with a couple flares by accident. So we've actually we're not officially a group anymore. We've been part of the original 109 group for the last 2 years. We are now sort of amalgamating and changing our name. So you'll see our new name probably on Saturday.
Okay.
at the first home game. I don't want to spoil that surprise.
Leave it. Yeah, we'll leave that.
But
Oh, you guys will have a page? You have a page?
Yeah, so they can follow our Instagram account.
Okay.
So that's Inebriati, so INEBRIATTI. Toronto Ultras, like if you just like search up Toronto Ultras on Instagram, like tons of our shit will come up. They can follow me on Instagram if they want, Ellie Zeldin. If you slide into my DMs, I probably won't message you. Like I answer you. Like I'm sorry, I'm just being honest, but like I try to get to them, but like I get tons of messages. So just like bear with me. And then we're trying to migrate now everything to Discord because I don't know what it is. Like apparently this is a Gen Z thing, but apparently it's awesome. It's like Slack but better.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start putting out the word about the Discord then, and you can get involved, and we're gonna have a way for people to be able to access tickets if they don't have tickets, get involved with tifo painting if they want to paint, get involved like if you have a skill, like if they're a drummer, if they want to learn how to capo, like definitely reach out to me because I need some help. Like it's a tough job to do. If you write songs, like this is a community, this is crowdsourced, so like everybody's ideas are welcome, as long as they remember that we fucking hate Montreal.
That's it, bro.
That's it.
Fuck MTL, man. But no, Ellie, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank
awesome, you, and keep doing this because this is so important for the culture.
Yeah, we will for sure, and I hope to be there and see you. March 27th. I know you'll be there.
You know where to find me. Just come right into the section.
So
Mike, we gotta get you back to BMO Field. So like, let's sort of go fund me to get Mike back to catch some games.
I love that, bro. I can't wait to link up with you in person.
Absolutely, I'm gonna be in Europe as well. Hopefully towards the end of the season. So I'll let you know as well. And like, if I'm going to Genoa towards the end of the season, I'll make sure that you come along for that.
Bro, that'd be an insane time. Yeah, I'm 100% down for that. Hit me up.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Love it. That's been another episode, Just Offside Podcast, man. Myself, Keith McCubbie, and Mike Vella. Later.